my body still longing for great days. Collected poems by Alfred Vassallo. From the book of the same title. My body still longing for great days. A few more years to my demise? A few more decades to come? I shall be with those who are rested already. Will I be comfortable within my tomb? For I did not prepare for this outcome, my body still longing for great days. I want to wash in my woman's precious bath, with that I shall take my lust along with satisfaction. A few more days and nights for my demise? Over my dead body, not for the dark thoughts of my mind, for I shall be still with the days and nights of fornication, a better serene ambience, for more life of lust I uphold, my body still longing for great days. The storms of my lust shall beat, the warm weather of spring and summer, on this wild obsession of mine. I shall conquer the tempests of morality, and curse the word of God. Then my body is ready to be vanquished, my soul looking forward to a non-existence place. A few more struggles I will have, a few more goodbyes, for my life not for others, a few more tears, and more tears, for I won't fuck anymore. I shall weep more and more, for more life of lust I uphold, my body will still be longing for those, my fucking days. My body still longing for great days. A few more years to my demise? A few more decades to come? I shall be with those who are rested already. Will I be comfortable within my tomb? For I did not prepare for this outcome, my body still longing for great days. I want to wash in my woman's precious bath, with that I shall take my lust along with satisfaction. A few more days and nights for my demise? Over my dead body, not for the dark thoughts of my mind, for I shall be still with the days and nights of fornication, a better serene ambience, for more life of lust I uphold, my body still longing for great days. The storms of my lust shall beat, the warm weather of spring and summer, on this wild obsession of mine. I shall conquer the tempests of morality, and curse the word of God. Then my body is ready to be vanquished, my soul looking forward to a non-existence place. A few more struggles I will have, a few more goodbyes, for my life not for others, a few more tears, and more tears, for I won't fuck anymore. I shall weep more and more, for more life of lust I uphold, my body will still be longing for those, my fucking days. The insane. Neglected in an isolated asylum, in a small rubber room, wretched, repugnant, forlorn and spiritless, in a rubber-padded room, filled with roses of gloom, choking me with its fragrance, smothering my convalesce. The beautiful thorns puncturing, smothering my convalesce, because I am insane, with a fragile brain. Forsaken in a closed hell, repudiated in prison cell, in solitary confinement in bliss. Strangled by the charming darkness, silenced by blackness, except for a woman in lament, climaxing with the devil's kiss. Confusing my erotic fantasies, climaxing with the devil's kiss, because I am insane, with a fragile brain. Secluded in a wine factory, where the grapes is satisfactory, the stench of alcohol dominating, overcoming my feelings, overpowering the cravings, the mouth parched, yearning with thirst, for a sip waiting. Getting intoxicated with thought binging, for a sip waiting, because I am insane, with a fragile brain. Obscurity entered my body, my tongue became bawdy, my soul fighting in defense. Truth will be protected, false witnesses dejected. I am locked up, from offense. I am frightened, from offense, because I am insane, with a fragile brain. Murkiness occupied my soul, it's as black as charcoal. I tumbled and fell from grace, evil woke from hell, residing with me in the soft cell, constantly lurking, living with me face to face. It laughs and I wail face to face, because I am insane, with a fragile brain. I am Humpty Dumpty, drinking a cup of tea. I did not fell from a wall, have twisted Jack's thumb, and bit Jill in the bum. I've punched Georgie Podgy, with him I had a brawl. I kissed little Bo Peep, she was better than a sex doll. Because of the fragile brain, I am completely insane. Woolly bully. The ram ran wild, the sheep was with child, the baby was not his, he did not do that and this. The sheep had an affair, with a gorgeous bear. The bear left his wife, with the sheep he had a better life. The sheep was in bliss, with a cuddle and a kiss. Mrs. Bear talked to Mr. Ram, both were ready for a slam. The sheep had a boy lamb, the bear shouted as much as he can. The lamb woke up fully, by his further woolly bully. Their story ends here, so does this fantasy affair. Tales from the Crypt. His dead body buried, the rats made a meal, complained he did not, there was nothing to feel. Blood ran through her neck, as the teeth pierced the veins, the parasite was with thirst, she did not feel pains. Sweeney Todd was busier than ever, Mrs. Lovett had his knives sharpened, they were faithful friends till the end, the victims were much disheartened. Dr. Frankenstein created a man, the monster in love with girl thing, she was not completely satisfied, the doctor didn't give him a ding-a-ling. Do not do anything. Do not send me flowers, when I am gone and dead. Do not send me wreaths, please no tears shed. Do not send money, on my behalf, to charity, of this, and that, just only remember me, and of course, do not be sad. If you send flowers, they soon die, the wreaths will wither slowly, the money shall befit you better, tears and sadness will make you lowly. Absurdity. To fight a good fight, without fright, any night, is nearly damn right. To maim, in shame, power acclaim, stability reclaim. Being a fool, an idiot's tool, not learnt at school, it's a coward's rule. For to fight a good fight, every bloody night, it's not right, for the human might. To maim, without shame, not a good game, certainly full of blame. Don't be a fool, it is not a clever tool, if it makes you drool, with tears filling a pool. Like a gypsy. Living like a gypsy, I travel everywhere, arriving nowhere, without wine I feel tipsy. Singing like a gypsy, with words implausible, a voice inaudible, harsh and whimsy. I cook and eat like a gypsy, firewood burning, the pig spitting, a fortune I foresee. I fuck like a gypsy, on dry or wet grass, with the same lass, a full rounded missy. I die like a gypsy, an alfresco demise, as my family cries, my soul is set free. Halloween Nativity. The stable turned into a cave. No straw, only pebbles in sight, the star became a meteor, all was ready for the night. Joseph's costume of vampire bat, standing near him, Mary in a witch's hat, the donkey turned into a wolf, the cow dressed as Rudolph. Away with the manger, baby boy happy in disguise, dressed as a pretty fairy, was he in for a surprise. Shepherds dressed as Van Helsing, their sheep into wooden stakes, they went to Herod's castle, in seeing them he got the shakes. 3 wise werewolves arrived with presents, as the search ended but not the events. From the sky came a bigger sign, the angel came down as Frankenstein. Santa Claus pops in. I saw him climbing a ladder, with huge red sack on his back. He struggled to reach the chimney, unfortunately he had to backtrack. I saw him descending by a parachute, with huge red sack dangling. The weight was too much for the chute, every part of his body dismantling. I saw him popping out of the hearth. Amazingly, he had not one stain of soot. His beard stayed as white as snow, until he stood up and skidded off his boot. I saw him flying, on his sleigh with his reindeers, high and up and high he goes, so courageous are the animals and himself, until brave Rudolph got a big red nose. Boom dee dee boom. Adapted from Edgar Allan Poe's Telltale Heart. The eye haunted him, a huge bull of an eye, larger than a tomato, an eye owned by the guy. The lodger was frightened. He could not look at it. Every time at it he glanced, he wanted to lickety split. One stormy night, it always is, the lodger entered the bedroom. The landlord was fast asleep, his heart thumping. Boom dee dee boom, boom, boom. He approached him quickly. The sleeping huge eye stared in the void. With a strike he pushed the knife. It entered the heart. The landlord was annoyed. He took the heart out and placed it under the floorboards. Nobody can touch him now, he says. The landlord vanished. He went in the kitchen to prepare some food. After all the work, the heart killer was famished. As he was eating, he heard thumping and ignored it. The thumping kept thumping. Boom dee dee boom, boom, boom. He did not know from where the boom dee dee boom was coming, but he was sure the boom dee dee boom was coming from that room. He realized the boom dee dee boom was coming from below. It was coming from under the floorboards where he hid the heart. His own heart started to boom dee dee boom too. So scared he was, he pissed himself, and in his pants, he started to fart. Maltese Fred. In limerick form. My name is Fred and I am Maltese. I like to wink at girls and I tease. The girls frown at me. I am fat and an oldie. I have a warm heart and I'm to please. I found you in a basket, father said, with a name on a string tied to my head. My face reddened with flickers. I pooed in my knickers. I'm joking as he held his nose and fled. From Malta I came 60 years ago. Living in England to Malta I go. At the Idolatrata tomb, flying on a witch's broom, where I bury my inflated ego. Lollipop. In acrostic form. Lapping the flavored juice, opportune time of relishing, licking for pleasure, lusting too much on the mind, indicating voluptuous thoughts. Popular with threesomes, overwhelmingly succulent, pretentiously melting down. The fig. A taste of ecstasy. With the tip of my tongue I tasted the cocoon. The sticky juices leaked out instantly to my mouth. The ecstasy felt was weird yet very pleasant. I could also feel a prompt change. I was in drought. It all started with a craving for something soft and tender, a lust for a something exquisitely small, not at all big. I wanted to devour the softness and a syrupy center. Oh, how pleasant it is, devouring the fresh fig. Cut half the fig, and put the tongue in it. Is not mussy, not that I am very fastidious, and definitely not fussy. The notion is, that when I lick it, it reminds me of a pussy. The lover and the mistress. The lover's mission is over, desires and passions past, he is completely spent, accomplished at last. The mistress exhausted, one deed was clear to her, she was also fulfilled, over was their fear. Vivid memories stamped, treasured and worth keeping, as their mind and body, at present sleeping. His wife not so, wants to have a go, politely, the temptation he ignores, she touches him here and there, no response as he snores. She was very horny, yet he couldn't fake, she woke him up, he said I've got a headache. Promiscuous. She is indiscriminate in choice, having casual sex is her way, different partners come and go, she doesn't meet them halfway. She has only one thing in mind, to suck a cock or be penetrated. She's the type that goes for anything. Not having her way, she gets frustrated. A wife who drinks and goes all the way, this is her act of self-gratifying. Her knickers often down then up. She likes to give and also receiving. What will a husband do with such a wife? Beating her with a heavy crutch, or stick by her and enjoy the trip with this woman who fucks so much? All Hallows Eve. All Hallows Eve, the night before All Saints' Day, all hell will break loose in this celebration of monsters and ghouls. This tradition, raised from pagan harvest festivals and from other celebrations honoring the dead, everybody is ready for trick-or-treat, especially if you could stand on your feet. Carving jack-o'-lanterns, bonfires, apple bobbing, and haunted attractions, playing pranks, telling scary stories, dressing up as Frankenstein or ugly fairies. Who would be Michael in an awful mask? Who will play the babysitter, as Jamie Lee Curtis did? Are you ready for some this gruesome slasher, copying Johnny Depp as the demon barber? Ducking for apples, and jumping for the treacles con, Ghost in the Graveyard, and Halloween freeze dance, make the zombies laugh and going out guising, hoping for candy if you do a lot of frightening. 7 days soused. I was so pissed on Monday morning, I had to walk on my knees blighted. I was not pleasant in the evening. I found myself completely naked. With no secrets, no hidden truths, just embracing 3 bottles of vermouths. Forgiving my drunkenness on Tuesday morning, it wasn't very hard to get to exceed my limit. It's the only way to forget the previous night, struggling with my head stuck in the toilet. I got angry and very abusive, swearing on the way, not knowing what I was doing, not even what I had to pay. On Wednesday I had to make a promise that I won't get plastered before nightfall, but being an addictive human being, such promises mean nothing at all. Drinking like a madman was extremely very easy to do. I forgot about my promise with a liter of vodka to lean to. In a pub I went on Thursday evening. There I met a lady ready for action, but being so much intoxicated, I could not manage an erection. So annoyed I cursed myself. I missed a swift good fuck, because my alcohol got in the way and I ran out of luck. Here comes Friday and I woke up very exhausted, with a splitting headache. To make it worse, I open a bottle of whiskey to cure it, or to prepare myself to board the hearse. I was fine and jubilant because the whiskey did the job well. I drank most of the bottle, sending me back straight to hell. The weekend approached very fast. Saturday was my day of reckoning. It was the marriage of my best friend, and I did not want to ruin his wedding. Demented Illusion. In octal form. Octal. The octal, created by Emily Romano, is a poem consisting of 8 lines using personification and symbolism in a telling manner. The syllable count structure for this verse is 8, 8, 7, 7, 7, 7, 8, 8, and the rhyme scheme is AA/BB/CC/AA. The first 2 lines and the last 2 lines are identical. The mild voice gave an easy yell, "Could this be my heaven or hell?" Yet this voice kept whispering, my heart with fear erupting, the mind hazy and confused, fused with feelings not amused. This was the frequented feature, I cannot kill the false creature. Love making. In Kyriel form. It's flattering and unselfish, to make passionate, fervent love, thoughtfully, kindly and at length, whether he's under or above. Making love without promises, free for all and prevailing love, between men or between women, whether he's under or above. A heterosexual in, no matter to whom he makes love, as long he enjoys it fully, whether he's under or above. The core of bad persons. I know of a man who is very vague. He boasts a lot and presumes he's the best. Well, he has his own ego, that is why his name is Greg. He is not funny, not even serious, he is mediocre. Only criticism he shares with two contemptible friends, one is Cindy, the other hides its name, who is a joker. They control poetry soup and damage the core of it. Everyone knows it, but the management are scare shitless. Cornish is the worst of all of them. The pastry is rotten. Macmillan is a surname I cannot recollect, is meaningless. Let them roll in their worst muck, and drown in mud. After all, they are human beings, kneaded up with contaminated blood. The woman WHO was my mother. My mother, a beautiful woman, tall and slender, dark longish wavy hair, cascading like a waterfall, down her neck and shoulders. She had piercing dark eyes, which seemed to glow every time she opened them. Her lips were full and sensuous, always painted red. Red lips. Her trademark. Damn well, she knew she was beautiful, used it pretty well, to achieve her goal, but she had many faults. She was a domineering mother, interfered constantly, while she bit her nose off, to spite her face. She totally loved me, I was her world, she was obsessed with me. She ruined me, yes, ruined me with her love, kindness, and generosity. I still mourn her, I still crave for I desire her love, her affection, her attention. She's the woman who gave me life, and installed it in obscurity. To the kingdom of heaven. Have we seen this poor man? They were spitting on him, flogged him 30 times. They plaited a crown of thorns. In his eyes there was no fear, only his love for us was sincere. The Bible story telling his honest news. The man was born by a virgin for this purpose. Let him take you by your hand and he'll lead you to the kingdom of heaven. He'll show you the promise he made when he was a man. Did you see the old woman who watched her son beaten, tears in her eyes, with pains in her heart? She's had no time for briefing, though her heart was bleeding, remembering her son, when he was just a small child, who was born by a virgin, for this purpose. Let him take you by your hand and lead you to the kingdom of heaven. He'll show you the promise he made when he was a man. In the courtyard, Peter was still down there. An old woman saw him, and began to yell, "He is a friend of the rabbi." "I do not know him," he denied. A bystander accused him too. "I do not know him," Peter denied again. "Have you seen him on the cross? Crucified between two criminals?" Mother crying with discomfort. She was there watching him in pain, with her, John and Mary. Then he cried out in agony, "Forgive them, Father, they do not know what they do." Then he died, and so shall we. The freedom to writing at will. In rectamator form. Freedom, it defines choice, so without liberty, the words will soon die out, and poetry will perish instantly, for the sake of, and opinion, of individuals, contradicting freedom. Immortality not for sale. They say money can't buy you love, it neither can make you pure as dove, not even a thin slice of happiness, but a little respect can bring gladness. I say money cannot buy you immortality, otherwise the rich would buy it instantly, while the poor will pawn their soul quickly. However, the world will overpopulate rapidly. Money can buy affluence and power, it can even build you a tall tower, it can buy you prosperity and wealth. You cannot buy an escape way from death. Mors omnibus. Death will resolve everything, will eliminate all problems, eventually becomes resting. Death, the final boundary of life, the ultimate seducer, conquering the morbid afterlife. Death, makes time and space equal, scepters and weeds alike, continues in a sequel. Death reveals the crucial truth, takes away all agonies from the aged and the youth. Death flourishes in wealth, claims humanity of the great and small, some hastily, others at length. Human, rejoice in the asset of the body, exult in the integrities which death pays, ending something to embody. Human, consider mortality, born of dust into the dust will go, a mere formality. Closed mind. The hot sun is knocking on a closed mind, deprived of prudence, need of stipulating, completely unkind, obstructed by ignorance. Blood, bloody blood everywhere. In order to justify my living, I have to compromise with blood. If there is no room in hell, I shall roam the earth and yell. Blood, bloody blood everywhere, and I can get none, even if just for fun. To drink, to suck, from the woman's vein, from the neck's arteries. To devour, gulp, consume, to gobble until I am full. No need for weakness, only sharp teeth, to pierce the jugular, drink and be merry, while at the same time, I penetrate with force. What is the point? What is the point, having a pocket loaded with money, will it lead me to the land of milk and honey? Happiness doesn't resolve around riches, nor from caprice or conquest. If joy depended on these minor things, I will continue to stay depressed. What is the point seeking favors from other women, since I'm already committed to my wife? My solemn vow I now regret, because I wanted to live another life. What is the point condemning the deed of others? Hating my surroundings, crushing the poor, do I think I'm happier with your doings? What is the point committing myself to this world, when I also have to die? My demise will come sooner than I think, in a blink of the eye. What is the point being dead and buried, all alone in eternal doom of silence, without any contentment, no resentment and no hindrance? The point is there is no gratification anywhere, the appreciation of being alive has no threshold, the satisfaction of being dead soon wears off, it is better to be dismayed than being bold. What is the point that I am living still? Sooner or later I have to die, what is so good in waiting for death to come, when quickly I can say an instant goodbye? Wisdom? I am a fool, discovering late, my own mistakes, becoming out of date. Not seeing my own faults, I'm doomed for unhappiness, climbing up a bare tree, hoping for fruitfulness. My faults are so well hidden, believing I have none, will become my misfortune, downright outdone. I will become immoral, inane, immature and feeble, lacking sensitivity and understanding, in disgrace, stamped like a beetle. I can fool people, some of the time. They are not stupid, realized, will treat me accordingly. I cannot fool people all the time, I will feel the sense of inferiority. Can I possibly get away with deceiving, cheating, without never getting caught? A fool I may be, but not a fool all the time. I remember all, but I quickly forgot. War. Novice soldier braces war, first battle of a lifetime. Inexperienced warrior, he hears the last clock chime. If only. The boy is youngster, the girl a juvenile, now full grown, the future not a pleasant sight, the opportunities outshone. In desperation, they become disturbed, both heading to unknown days, haven't got a clue how to sort out their ways. Their lives, in turmoil and confusion, preoccupied and unstable, one imprisoned, the other in a brothel, a nightmarish life, only a fable. If only, two saddest words, if they lived as it should be, would it have been hard to live, with decency and integrity? If only they were made of glass, they would have been more cautious, extra vigilantly, and not be in an impasse. Little devil whispers in my ears, asking questions I cannot reply, for I shall have dreamless sleep, for the silent hours causes me to comply. Yet in my dark delusions I remain, hoping for an everlasting illusion, giving me desires throughout the years, facing in the little devil in confusion. Little imp murmurs in my ears, proclaiming the unholy fact. I will obey this little prince, damnation inside I will attract. For I was born in time of deceit, harvesting all that is unscrupulous, while cavorting with black angels, feeling sleazy and ludicrous. How preposterous, how naive, the mundane reward I was given, to them imparts to my human heart, straight to hell I was driven. I accepted and rejoiced blindly, with a fantasy world of sin, where my lowly soul is condemned, neglecting to save my skin. From then I was never content, living in the dark like a lost child, misery cries out from beyond, born of my mother defiled. I see envy stands watching me, wrath opens wide hell's door, gloomy nights with obscure lights, fornicating fiends forevermore. The moon. In silence, in stillness of the night, you reign, the kingdom of repose, and I? From my window, I gaze at you, up above, hoping that I will find peace, the same solemn peace you have boast, across the universe space. I gaze at you, and I reminisce, the sublime quietness, in the beauty of darkness, the splendor of night, and yet, at the same moment, I notice someone destroying, trashing, wrecking, demolishing the harmony, the serenity of the blissful night, with frivolity, drunkenness, violence, and fornication. While you, dear moon, king of the night, remains faithful to the cosmos, ruling in silence, without understanding the human of today, who desires only to dominate by contradiction. The visitor. The old home looks the same, as I went visiting from nowhere. There to meet me was no one at all, except a memory and a nightmare. The journey I made was long and tiring. I did not expect to find her there, with her long hair and those hypnotic eyes. It was unexpected and I had a dreadful scare. After all these years it was fascinating, meeting in our old home which was still standing, though the house was stagnant in its darkness. I could see her well with her eyes so sparkling. There she was, the woman whom I troubled so. She looked angry and asked me something. I did not understand what she wanted. The reunion now seems a bit confusing. Then I wiped my eyes and looked around me. My mother was there and I was not dreaming. How can this be true? She was dead and I knew. The atmosphere was weird and breathtaking. She took my hands and pulled me. I knew she came to me to be exonerated, but I had nothing to forgive her about. She was a special woman, more loved than hated. Sliding. I found myself sliding, gliding somewhere unknown. Then I was slipping, going down into nowhere, descending into the pit of impurity, where the contamination of the darkest soul survives, the abomination, the revulsion, the distasteful atmosphere of diminishing truth, of falling, until I completely down, touching the abomination of the affliction, the agonizing, feeling the grieving pains of my heart, now dismissed into the darkness of despondency. The forbidden touch. Can I illustrate beauty without the help of my eyes? Will I be able to see the sunlight, the clouds floating above, the marvel of the skies? Having tried it and succeeded, I was absorbed with fascination. The blind described as unfortunates, yet now I can enjoy the mystery of Tuk, become suspended with satisfaction. I can touch anything with my eyes folded, from animals and other objects. Yet the human bodies are far better, they're so warm and so soft, can't be compared with other subjects. Feeling bodies so atmospheric and tense, especially the sensation of a woman's skin. The touch of women's flesh befitted my addiction, their faces, hips, thighs and legs, fondling them like playing the violin. Touching flesh became my fixation, spending most time contemplating the feeling. Night and days, eyes shut in darkness, caressing bodies in my over-imaginative mind, satisfactory, but not so accommodating. Pictures, portraits and views for the eye, soft sounds, loud sounds for the ear and the mind. I have touched pots and pans, table and chairs, establishing for good the power of feeling, the forbidden touch prudently refined. I didn't notice anything not around me, I felt my whole behavior very strange. I was crouched at the foot of her body. What happened next was totally unexpected. It seemed my body was about to interchange. My body was becoming entangled with hers. It felt like my hands and hers were divine. Every time I touched her face I felt it on mine, same with massaging her thighs, stroking her legs, so frightened it sent shivers down my spine. Beyond my grave. Strangely, I glamorized death, bizarrely, I romanticize its promising rewards, curiously, I embellish the afterlife. Death is more attractive, concealed with mystery, veiled in darkness, shrouded in fear, disguised with apprehension. Capturing Evil, an adaptation of The Howling Man by Charles Beaumont. Prologue. An incredible story I should know, will you believe? Not at first, yet you must believe, realizing how I was cursed. It happened many long years ago, in Europe on the borders of Romania. I got lost in the fog of a huge dark forest, succumbed in hands of megalomania. Arriving opposite a huge building, an ancient castle to be exact, I banged on the door hard, hoping to stay my senses stay intact. It took them a while but they heard me. I was lucky somebody opened the door, or was I cursed as it unbolted, entering into a den of gore? I was shivering with the cold. A man carrying an oil lamp stared at me. I was greeted in a friendly manner, moreover from the storm I was free. I asked if I could have shelter. He accepted me graciously, with no sneer but a smile, entering quickly and gracefully. No outsiders could enter their habitat, no visitors at all, he explained. I was a stranger got lost in the forest. I was accepted in unrestrained. I walked behind him casually, through a wide corridor full of doors. I felt as if I was carrying the plague, contaminating their stony floors. Epilogue. I am truly sorry for all of you. I will never forget that night, for I had turned loose on the world, an evil which I have to put right. I didn't believe but I saw him. This is our weakness, Satan's power. I've talked to him yet did not identify. Here and now our soul he'll devour. From the moment I released this evil, I've spent my time trying to track him, to recapture the iniquity unfolded on you, destroying him from limb to limb. This evil soon took the shape of many conflicts, the Second World and the Israeli War, the Korean War, the Vietnam War and the Gulf War, the Balkan War and more, and far more. I have to catch and destroy this malevolence. When I capture him I'll keep him confined, not for long I am sure of that. He'll be freed by someone for power goes blind. Crossing over. It is obvious, my heart hovered over by death, the omnipresent player to my final act, of life so cruel. In a moment, I will try to cross the bridge, separating light and darkness. When I crossed over, frightened and confused my mind and body wouldn't cope. Now death has taken me, somewhere through the ultimate route, a new way of my destination. I am unconscious but waiting, and waiting patiently for an hazy freeway that covers the darkest moment of humanity. An act of disbelief, an array of dubious surroundings, all merged to search a mystery, to transmit an aspect of light into a deep dark region of the unknown. Death surroundings, to be believed or disbelieved, depending on my illusion, reality or illusion, essence or spectre, all of which part of a demise. Death closes in. How well humans fight death, battle all the way, suffer so much, endure extreme disarray. Death gets close to them, assisting with their demise, instead of accepting it. How life they eulogize. They know they are defeated, but they keep hanging on, telling their conscious mind to sleep, cause they've ended life's marathon. Death saw directly in their faces, no more angst, no more weariness, no more problems, no more pain, only peace and no more sadness. Trust and possibility. My trust can reject possibility, yet possibility can explain my trust. Trust cannot allow me to want possibility, while possibility did not give enough faith. I play in their hands, I act out my part, I perform them out well, I suffer, I believe, I am. A third party, doubt, existing to clear, why which fills me up, like I'm an empty void, with no incentives, making me fearful of myself, progressing quickly, becoming the creator of my own evil. Goodness, a reflection upon cruelty, like brothers in arms, battling all the way. The darkest imagination of her mind. In a sleeping mode, imperfect, only in its significance. The improbable elements to an emotion, a sentiment worse than fear itself. In a moment she will apprehend terror, understand what the properties of horror are, a nightmare will lead her by the hand, walks her into a horrendous dream, residing in the darkest imagination of her mind. She who has lived in the night, woke up one in the morning demoralized, took a good look at the structure of her life, built it vigorously and perfected it well, had a great good look within herself, grasping she's battling hard against an unknown force, living in the darkest imagination of her mind. Honeymoon of death. A picture of a honeymoon, a couple getting ready for a journey, an excursion with a difference, 10 years of a marriage, this celebration not a beginning. The woman, unsure, the man, confused, she wants assurance, before he had never been disorganized, certainly never a honeymoon in question. Their tickets booked ready to board, happiness, though this car is going somewhere different, they retaking the extreme path, created only and by a mind unstable. They will never reach their destination, it was not meant to be renovated, they were found in a gorge, few hours later crushed to death. This couple knew exactly what happened, they knew that they had arrived to a better, a wonderful, a morbid place, situated in an unhinged spot of a dark poetic mind, deranged. I died too. When I saw her lying there, helpless and humiliated, drowned in her own blood, I shuddered. I had never endured such horror. She was my woman, did nothing to help her. I should not have seduced her, I should not have incited her. I wept, sweated and vomited blood. I died 60 times a minute, each of those hours, she made love to me. I lost my strength, I behaved cowardly. I shook, quavered, raved, babbled, screamed, tore the earth with my bare fingers. Then when I saw her lying there, helpless and humiliated, drowned in her own blood, I died too. Mors vincit omnia. Death conquers all. There was white roses, tied with tiny red ribbons, Everywhere, all over the place, far and wide. I can see the beauty in it, I envisage it in so many ways, the peace, the freedom, the tranquility, the poignant fragile beauty, at the one final exaltation, the gathering of the soul, the ceremony. Yet it is not my time, I've seen it in so many places, I have called by name so many times, I have worshipped at your altar. I walked in your shadow. Seen your reflection in other spaces, still it is not enough. No one has promised me tomorrow, I can only count on is today. The truth about my death demonstrates the gentleness of my grave. Into the mirror. I don't understand me? That's a fine thing for me to say to myself. I broke my spirit, twisted my life, now I stand staring at me, telling me that I don't understand me. When I step on a caterpillar, do I look down and say I don't understand me? That's exactly what I did to me. I stepped on me and turned away. Now decades later I am crawling to me. I know what I think of me. I utterly despise me. I am lonely. I've been lonely for many years, waiting and kept waiting. I couldn't get over me. I tried. At first I ignored the conscious. I went into oblivion. Instead I grew lonelier. Every time I came back to my senses, realizing my old self was not coming back, everything seemed to be moving further and further away from me. I could not reach me. Do I know what is it when I'd been promised so much? I was going to be contented. I've promised me that. I dreamt of blissfulness. I visualized cheerfulness. I've promised me one more time. I dreamt of voices. I missed the laughter I made. I missed my moaning, my agonies, my thoughts. I became utterly lonely. Then a wonder gift. It was death who brought it to me, placed it in front of me. Somebody had to die first, and that someone was yours truly. I was sent to me to be with me. At last I wasn't alone anymore. Notes: talking to a mirror is not very healthy, but again the reflection won't answer us back. It is very sensible to anger with something which doesn't strikes you back, pity you or patronizing you. An artist's dilemma. I sing curiously well, though my sleep is uneasy. Days passes by in customary fashion, but thoughts makes me queasy. I am an artist in my hyped mind, a performer of the purest kind. A poet without rhymes, verses, sonnets, and couplets. A painter with no paintings, colors, pictures, and oeuvres. A dancer deprived of steps, rhythm, sequence, and pace. A lover which has no cravings, passion, thirst, and yearnings. I ridicule the finished works I do, the cliched outcomes of my coarse thrill. My life, my mind is my work, all of which devoted to my mediocre skill. Thus I complete my work of art, which will crown the inventive heart. It will enslave my life with awkwardness, showing the cynics the power of self-consciousness. I am in the final realization. I will shudder with expectation. I will walk in obscurity, where death is my only security. My work I hate intensely, though I'm badly bound to it. It is the metaphor of my existence, always ready and willing to submit. Money. In diatel form. The diatel is a fun, syllable counting form like the E-theory with a twist. The syllable structure of the diatel is as follows: 1/2/3/4/6/10/12/10/8/6/4/3/2/1, but unlike an ether, has a set rhyme pattern of abkpkpkp. This poetry form may be written on any subject matter and looks best center-aligned in a diamond shape. The diatel form was created by Bradley Vrooman. Here is a dietal poem. Cash goes round, never found. Nothing is glee, everything is unsound. Not a dollar or a rupee, without a dependable guarantee. Bankers in a muddle, poor nations in a clash. Money is the root of all our evil, cursed unless you disagree. Owning it is profound, becoming downed, undersea, with free cash. Moment of explosion approaching fast. Concerned, my well-being doesn't come into it, neither does my wife's, but worried I am, for my children's future, my children's future, and for my great-grandchildren too. I listen with horror, I watch and shudder, I read and feel misery, when the wind blows, because time enough at last, or is it? I gaze at the old man in the cave, with a little peace and quiet. Will it be shelter-skelter? Are we in quarantine? Chosen for a new place, alas, Babylon, with perhaps Dr. Strangelove? Maybe there is no soul within the man, unless the balanced man became unbalanced. What reason has a man got, even if people are suffering from punishment, to justify such actions? Perhaps Pak Pongju is not a man. Could he be God's apprentice, God's messenger, God's terminator, to emulate Sodom and Gomorrah or Pompeii? Why should we shoot the messenger? If this is the case, then truly I should be concerned. My well-being doesn't come into it, neither does my wife's, but worried I am, for my children's future, my children's future, and for my great-grandchildren too. Leaders. In cinquain form. The cinquain, also known as a quintain, or quintet, is a poem or stanza, and used a form of 22 syllables distributed among the 5 lines in a 2, 4, 6, 8, and 2 pattern, respectively. Condemn evil, yet evil talks clearly, when they open widely their mouths, phonies. Law lords, judges, and magistrates, punishes with practice, a simple cure for righteousness, raptly. Corruption. Basis, for corruption, from abusive disputes, with the depravity of man, are words. From white to black. The moment I find myself facing shame, from the behavior I have shown, the previous night, through my usual awful binge drinking, my audacious mind turns empty, into a meek subdued state. The courageous drunken man, which I was the night before, will convert, once again, into a modest and humble person, very frightened, confused, full of guilt. Recklessness and rash decisions cannot be maintained, being impetuous, a problem that has to be eliminated. I have to face the situation, boldly and shamelessly. Poppy field. Poppies a symbol of catastrophe and death, yet Monet with this painting left us out of breath. It is not only the poppies who are the protagonists, but the vast cloudy sky, for it gives us a sense twists. Unlike a mystery drama on television, it clearly opens up. Savor it, it will definitely taste of golden wine in a cup. The parasol for sun protection and not of rain, a simple walk by the poppies, not a visit in vain. 4 limericks. The Kitten and the Butterfly. Once there was a kitten on a chair, named Ginger because it was fair. The butterfly flew in, seeing the kitten within, becoming strange bedfellows bear. Tom Thumb. A fairy man was called Tom Thumb. His body was cute but not his bum. He tried to fuck Nelly. His cock turned to jelly. He tried and tried but couldn't come. The girl from Utah. The girl from Utah was called Honey. She'd good body with ears of a bunny. She ran out of money. She called her friend Sonny. He didn't answer, his stomach was runny. William Shakespeare. Once there was a man called Shakespeare. Amongst other plays he wrote King Lear, and Romeo and Juliet, They were full of regret, Hamlet and Macbeth written with fear. You've been listening to My Body Still Longing for Great Days. Collected poems by Alfred Vassallo. From the book of the same title.
You have been listening to My Body Still Longing for Great Days. Collected poems by Alfred Vassallo, taken from the book of the same name. Alfred Vassallo, born 11th of April 1956 in Slima, Malta. Freddie, known by this name, produced and directed several plays as a semi-professional. His productions included, amongst others, The Exorcism, Equus, Night Must Fall, Who Killed Agatha Christie, The Island, Night Mother, Who's on First, and Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Were held at the Manol Theatre, the National Theatre of Malta. He also was employed by the Colchester Cooperative Drama Group seen around as a director. The Co-op Drama Group produced several plays, also took part in 2 drama festivals in Colchester and Ipswich, finished second on both productions, which were Just a Song at Twilight and Savoury Meringue. He wrote various radio plays and documentaries for radio, and poetry. Also wrote lyrics to I Am All Alone sung by Keith Russell. Alfred maintains that he is not a true poet. He doesn't follow any particular poetry styles. True poetry is a piece of literature written by a poet in meter or verse expressing various emotions which are expressed by the use of variety of different techniques including metaphors, similes and onomatopoeia.